So yeah, the reader skims over Eliot as he throws out this list of great cities, and we almost fail to acknowledge that the list of cities is listed in chronological order according to the pinnacle of each respective city. The reader barely even acknowledges the kind of recurring image of water in the poem. Madame Sosostris warns to fear death by water, and of course she's talking about the hot water at 10, and of course she's talking about the sweet Thames and the deep sea that killed Phoebus. And this brings us back to the question of timing and how the dichotomy of past and present is destroyed. Madame Sosostris is a modern character who's warning a historical literary character, Phoebus, to fear death by water. Here we have a reversal of roles. Normally in traditional temporality we have the past that's influencing the present, but in this situation we have the present that's influencing the past. So of course, we can acknowledge that the past lingers about the present. It's by no means the sole executor of influence. And this is one of T.S. Eliot's big ideas. The repeated imagery and punctuation emphasizes the interconnectedness within the poem. Visual imagery feeds into each other and feeds off of each other. They're all all the images are involved in symbiotic relationships. Repeated use of transferred epithet offers the reader a final means of shedding light onto modernity. If we look at the physical state of objects, it's often the adjectives used to describe these objects are reflecting the mental or physical state of human beings. First example of this would be the troubled, confused unguent. I don't know how to pronounce that, unguent or unguent. It's like a perfumed ointment. But it's not the perfumed ointment that's confused and troubled. It's the woman who wears it who's confused and troubled. And there's something so sad about that she can't acknowledge, or the reader can't acknowledge, or the persona can't acknowledge humans' own emotions. We have to attribute them to objects. If we look at the pleasant whining of the mandolin, it's not the mandolin that's doing the whining, it's the human beings. If we look at the empty rooms, it's not the rooms that are, well, maybe the rooms are empty, maybe physically the rooms are empty, but I'd say that this is more a statement about the state of the soul in the 20th century. Our souls are empty because we fail to engage with our surroundings. We fail to think critically about our surroundings or make anything different. And maybe it's not our fault. Maybe it's just a result of the wars we've seen. But the wars are humans' faults. Okay, I don't know what I'm going on. I'm rambling. So yeah, we who are living, we who accept the horns and the motors as perfectly acceptable background music to our day-to-day lives, we who use the tolling reminiscent bells to create an artificial sense of order, we who were living are now dead. In T.S. Eliot's The Waste Land. So downwards Mary slides, down the mountain in her sled. Down King William Street all these men are walking while staring down at their feet. She will wear her hair down as he sits down and wept by the waters of Lemon. In this apocalyptic world Eliot has created, London Bridge is falling down. Lovers rape and are raped. Friends have left and left no addresses. And talk about really personal things like abortions through heavy use of euphemism, but they hold these conversations in public spaces. We do not have concise history books with a nice table of contents and well-ordered chapters and numbered pages. What we have are withered stumps of history displayed upon the walls. And there's definitely hope for something more concrete. There's hope for something more fulfilling, more optimistic. The visual image of a key is presented to the reader, but the key only confirms the existence of something much more dark, something much more horrifying. A key exists to open a lock, and it's very much this image of the lock, the prison that weighs down on the poem, on the mood of the poem. So there is optimism, but it's drowned out by all this pessimism. And maybe it's not pessimism, maybe it's realism, maybe it's just, well, no, I'd say it's pessimism. So yeah, through the use of intertextuality, splashes of visual imagery and phrases and punctuation, a wild conception of structure and time. Eliot, what he does is he confirms our dependence on the past, but he also creates a present that's devoid of any tools that could be used to separate the past from the present and the present from the past. So the end result is this poem. It's migraine causing, but equally as beautiful and yeah. If I were to compare the poem to anything, sorry, I'm really going on here, but I would compare it to a Rubik's Cube. Normally, a Rubik's Cube that's, I mean, if we lived in a world of perfect order, all of the colors of each individual square would be sorted out in the appropriate way, so the puzzle would be solved, and there'd be 6 perfectly colored squares, and we wouldn't have anything to worry about. And in a perfectly pessimistic world, the Rubik's Cube is broken, and there are odd little pieces all over, scattered all over a floor. But the world Eliot has created, it's not entirely pessimistic. I would compare it to a Rubik's Cube that's jumbled. It's really jumbled, and a blind man is holding it. So we have all these pieces of history that are all connected in some way, but they're jumbled and they're chaotic, and there's little hope for a solution to be found, or order to be found, or order to be restored. So yeah, and on an ending note, I guess, if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching these videos, and if you made a video, thank you so much for making one. I think I had a lot of fun listening to everyone talk, and I'm so very impressed with kind of the caliber of thought around kings. Yeah, and it's just been a pleasure hearing all sorts of different ideas, and I know it's scary. Like right now, I'm kind of scared. I don't know who's even listening to this. It's a little daunting to think about, but yeah, I just want to thank you, and good luck with your orals. Okay, bye.